Now we start the assignment. Before starting, we have to know about the hotkeys which is present in the Blender. So first we speak about the move. Here these three: move, rotate, and scale have hotkeys such as G. When we press G and we can rotate by moving it, we can move it wherever we want. By pressing R, we can rotate it as we want, and by S we can scale its size. And also when we have to scale or rotate or move the object in an axis, we have to select the object, and first we have to press the hotkey G, and which axis we have to move. If we press X, it will be moved in X axis, and when we press Y, G and Y, it moves in Y axis. The same as that, the same principle works for the rotate and scale. Rotate X axis, it will rotate in X axis. Rotate Y axis, it will rotate in Y axis. Rotate Z axis, it will rotate in Z axis. And also scale X axis, it will scale in X axis. Scale in Y axis, it will scale in Y axis. Scale Z axis, it will scale in Z axis. Now as per the last assignment, we just did it in object mode. Now we have to go through the edit mode. For the edit mode, we have to press tab key to enter into edit mode. Now we can see that the edges and edges, vertices, and edges, vertices, and sides are given. Faces we can edit here as we want. So first, here there are three vertices, edges, and faces. By selecting this, we can edit them. First we have to select one. I think by pressing here also there is hotkeys. One for vertices, two for edges, three for faces. The same process goes for G and X. We can do that in the same. And when it comes to the selecting this, we also have the hotkey such as A. If we press A, the whole object will be selected, and we press double A, the whole object will be undone properly. So first we have to move one edges. By moving G, we can do this. We can lift that thing. And edges, by selecting 2 G, we can move that thing G. Now we can say that we can lift that thing. And also the faces, the same goes to the faces. First we have to select face and G. Now we can move that thing as we want. The same goes to the rotate and scaling. Although here there are some, we have to know about the extrude region, insert faces, and a loop cut. As per that, extrude means will be acceptable for the faces. When we select the faces and this and extrude, there will be, when we press the right key, and we can see this extrude along normals. While we press this, we can see this yellow thing coming out of that face which we have selected, and now we can extrude that thing as we want. And next intrude also for faces. When we press intrude, and this yellow circle will be presented, and we can intrude this thing as many times we want, like that. So, and also the loop cut is for providing the loop, and again cuts in the object that which we are selected. By moving the cursor, we can see the loop cuts available. When we have to move, when we select it, it will be loop cutted in that way. So that's it for the hotkeys. Now we have to go through the assignment, that which we have to prepare the old one. So next that we have to undo this. We have to go to tab and select X, delete. Now we have to add a mesh and a cube. Now we got this thing, and what we have to do is making the world man. So we have to convert this cube by pressing G on. I think undo it's correct. Control plus Z. It has been settled into the previous part. So we have to scale this thing. Yes. Along x-axis. Yes, along z-axis. Yes, along y-axis. I think it is very thick, so we have to still scale this thing along y-axis. Okay, now we have completed it. Now we can duplicate this object for head purpose. Duplicate object, and now we have duplicated it. Now we have to scale this thing into the size of head. Scale. Now we have to move this thing by pressing G, and we can set this here. Although the head is a little bit big, so we have to still scale this thing. Yes, now it's perfect. The head is settled. Now we have to move this thing little bit forward, so it will be very nice to see. Okay, then it is fine. Now we centered it, and now we have to do that and again we have to add something to that. We have to add hands. By pressing G, we can move that thing outside and scale along z-axis. It will be fine. Yes, and y-axis. So sorry, yes, and yes, y. Yes, y. Yes, x. Yes, and z. Now we have got the hand, so by moving G we can set it here. And set. Now we can move that something like, again we can do that G. Now we had completed this hand, and now we can do about leg. Again add mesh and cube. We get the new cube, and by pressing G we can move that thing outside, and we have to scale this to leg. So scale to z-axis and here, and again scale to y-axis Now I think I can scale in y-axis a little bit. Okay, and now scale in z-axis, scale to x-axis. We can scale it, and now again scale in z-axis. Now we can move this thing into the leg position. I think it is little bit height, so we can again reduce that height. Yes, G, and we delete it here. Like so, we have to move that backwards. It will be fine, and now we have to move this thing a little bit. Okay, then it has been completed. Now we have to add a foot to this, so again we have to add mesh and a cube. New cube will be arrived, and a G, drag that thing, and we have to scale this thing also. Scale along the z-axis, scale along the y-axis, scale along the x-axis. Now we can set this thing here. G, and move it to down here. We have to set this correctly as the foot sets in. So G along y, so y-axis. Now we move it. G along x-axis, G along z-axis. Now we have finished this thing, so now we have to do is another hand and another leg. So for that we can use the modifier properties, and I think we had forgotten the fingers, so we have to again add mesh and a cube, drag that thing and scale it in z-axis, scaling y-axis, scale and y-axis. Scaling x-axis, now we can set this thing and this thing, set this thing here. I think we have to scale this thing in a y-axis, scaling y-axis, scale y, no, setting it here, G, and now we had completed this thing. Now we have to do is the render properties, that means render properties to move that leg and hand into the other side of this body. So we now there is a modifier properties, and here the mirror property, and according to this we have to do the parallel to y-axis. So axis is y, we can select y and remove x. And for this we have to click this body. Now we can get that thing. And again this hand, add modifier and mirror. Now we get that thing. And now this thing, add modifier. Now we have to select these two things at a time, it will be easier. Add modifier, mirror, x-axis, and now we can use this thing. Now we got that thing. And this one, add modifier, mirror, x-axis, and this. We had got this man in perfect in object mode itself. So for the hair purpose we have to use that again, add one thing, add mesh and cube. By moving this thing outside, now we have to scale this thing as per that head. So G outside and scale along x-axis, scale along z-axis, scale along y-axis, it will be heavy, so again scale along y-axis, scale along z-axis, now it's perfect. We have to move this thing into this here for hairing purpose. G, again it is in heavy position, high position, so we have to scale this thing in x-axis, scale x, how to reduce this thing and just to move in x-axis little bit to be okay. Now we had completed it and here perfectly. So next we have to do is enter into the edit mode. By pressing tab we can enter into the edit mode. Again I think we have to something we have to do with this hair that which we inserted here. So for this we have to select this thing and here there is a view and local view. We can get the toggle local view, means this is used to select only specific object and we can edit that and by again reviewing it and we can get that what we edited in the original image that which we created. So what we have to do is we have to select this thing, not by pressing 3 we can select edge selected, and what we have to do is extrude. Yes, okay, we have extruded this thing and by pressing A we can do this thing and what we have to do is scale along z axis. We can scale this thing a scale along z-axis. Now we have selected that thing, and now what we have to do is extrude this one. And now we have to extrude this, extrude along normals, and now we have to extrude this. Now pressing 2 edges, move, again we enter into the object mode by pressing tab, and by selecting this thing, and again we enter into this one, and now we had completed it successfully. So when we enter into the local view and toggle local view, we had got this thing as a hair on it back. And now what we have to do is arranging the nose. So again we enter into the object mode. By entering into the object mode, again we have to add mesh cube by moving this into the sidewards, and we have to add nose. So we have to scale this thing into shortcut. So scale nose, and scale along z-axis. It has to be somewhat thick. Scale along y-axis. Now we can move it into the place where we want, and again something z-axis. Scale z. Now we can move it. Now we had got the nose, and when we enter into the edit mode, and now we can do some things like loop cut. By loop cut we can cut into this thing, and we can make it as a nose part. So what we have to do is loop cut. By selecting loop cut, yes, we had cutted that loop as perfectly. And what we have to do is move the edge. So edge, yes, by moving that we can get the perfect nose. See, nose has been arranged, so nose has been set perfectly, no problem. And next what we have to do is arrange the mouth. So for that mouth we have to again enter into the edit mode, object mode, and add mesh and cube. By pressing G we can move that thing outside, and we can scale this thing into the small box. And now we have to move this thing into this. I think somewhat it is bigger, so we have to move that thing and again scale. when we miss that cube like that, we can select that one and press G and move outside. G, 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 we think we completed it successfully by arranging it. It had some problems. So next what we have to do is enter into the edit mode and selected the object. Select this object. Sorry. Tab. Tab. Create view, local view, toggle view. This view, local view, toggle local view. And now we can add the eyes to this thing. So by adding eyes we can do that. So by entering into the object mode, add mesh and cube, G to move here and scale, G, G, by adding that thing we completed this iPod. And what we have to do is by mirror object in object mode, and by selecting this cube, by keeping the render object, add modifier and a mirror along x-axis by with this object. Yes, now we got that thing as it is. When we select this one, the whole will be selected, and what we have to do is duplicate object and bring it on and scale them down. Now by scaling them down, and we can by scaling somewhat bigger, scale scale Idlewick's adder, and we have to move that in a z-axis, so it is seeing the monster. And what we have to do is, according to this, we have to prepare a torch. So for preparing torch, we have to we are in object mode, so we have to do add mesh and cylinder by moving this something like this. And what we have to do is, we have to rotate this along y-axis. I think along y-axis we can rotate it, so we can get the torch is rotated, and it is in the hand of the old man. So by applying 90 degrees in y-axis, it will turn into like this. I think according to x-axis we have to rotate it, so x-axis, now it is turned into like this. So we have to scale this thing, whole body, scale this thing. Now what we have to do is, yes, now we scale that thing. Now we can scale this along the y-axis. Scale this along y-axis. Something we can get this bigger. Scale along y-axis. Okay, now we completed this thing. Now we can set in the hands of the old man. So by selecting it, G, move that thing to here. Now it had been set completely. Now what we have to do is, we have to enter into the edit mode by pressing the tab. By tab we can add thing, and what we have to do is, we have to extrude this face. So by pressing this, extrude along normals, so at the closer it will be very fine to see. So pressing C, this we can extrude this one like this, and now we have to scale this thing for to look like as a torch. And what we have to do is extrude not intrude, insert face. So by applying insert, we can insert this thing as like this, and now again we have to do extrude. So now we got the torch shape. Now we got the torch shape and the man which is perfectly set according to the assignment that which has been given. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.